yourself for what you couldn't change. Keep rehearsing the past, reliving the pain. But healing don't come from holding on tight. Sometimes strength is knowing when to surrender the fight. It's okay to fall, it's okay to rest. It's okay to say, Lord, I did my best. Now watch how he moves when you step aside. Sometimes your silence gives him room to provide. Let go, let God give him control. It ain't your job to carry every soul. You weren't built to bleed for every scar.
Sanbanan, Tumilang. Lebitso la ka ke Louisa Lebetsa Malahlekane, and I'm your host. Welcome to Surely This Can Be It. And with me, I have the ever fabulous, the ever this, the ever that, Miss.
I'm not going to comment. I'm not going
Listen,
to comment.
you have to
I'm
get
not going
used
to
to the fact that you are fabulous. You're the doll you think you are. That we know you are.
I don't know about that. But anyway, welcome to yet another episode of Surely This Can Be It. I'm your co-host, Nomfundo Nyakane. Welcome back.
Welcome.
So today, well, we decided. Remember, I don't even know how we should introduce it. We've revamped. We are revamping everything about Surely.
Yes.
So from Mondays to Saturday, we discuss politics. We stream politics. Everything is about politics.
Everything politics.
Yeah. So on Sundays, we've decided to come down to Mother Earth, where we talk about the topics that nobody wants to talk about.
Yeah.
You know, we come down to the emotional part of things.
Yeah.
And today we've decided, I volunteered to talk about the firstborns.
Asibonge.
Hey, asibonge. The reason why I wanted us to start with regards to the firstborns, I wanted to correct a narrative. I always tell people when they say I'm strong, right? They say that I am not strong. And I don't like this label, unbokodo, because as it is, I am going through a lot of things in my life that are attributes of this label, unbokodo. So that is why I felt for me, from my side, it was important to talk about this. The firstborn daughters. You were asking me earlier on, am I talking only to the firstborn daughter? No, I'm talking about that firstborn child. You know, whether it's girl or boy, but most firstborns anyway are daughters.
Yes.
So thus it's important for us to cover this topic, Yama firstborn daughters, the so-called mbokodos.
Talk about hitting the ground running. I thought bosses on take it is Sanjangani. What the
There's nothing to take it about.
Language. But yeah, it's a very touchy subject. It's a very, as I would like to put it, a thorny subject, because these are the things that we expect to be the norm. Without taking into considerations the people that is affecting. So I am not a firstborn. In fact, I'm the baby of the family, which I don't like being referred to. I don't even know why I said I'm the baby, because I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm this and that. I'm not the baby, but I'm the last born, you know, from my mom. But I don't know whether I should say unfortunately or not fortunately enough to be born in a family where, as being the last born, but I also embodied and was burdened in a way with the firstborn's responsibilities, because I think it goes far back. It goes far back from, you know, the name. You know, in Sesotho, we have something called marelwa. So, kamlao, how you're not supposed to use your firstborn, give it to the firstborn of that family that you will be railing from, you know. I made a twin there. I hope you can catch it. I make a twin there. So if Urella from a family of 5, you don't have to take the firstborn of that family to Urella, the firstborn of your family. Yes. You need to, you know, because bare itu saure bana baske ba iphumana ba bana le di betlaki or omens that comes with.
So it's more for traditional cultural kind of setup.
So unfortunately, I was given the name of the firstborn.
Imbokodo.
Yeah, although I'm not,
Mhm.
I refuse to be Mbogot, not in this age. So I know it's gonna cause some,
Mhm.
discomfort
Mhm.
with the people involved.
Mhm.
However, it is my story.
Mhm.
Everybody has a right to narrate their story how they see fit,
No, that's so
or
true.
how it transpired, or
Yes.
how it's happening in
Mhm.
their life. So I feel like as much as I'm the last born,
Mhm.
with the firstborn name,
Mhm.
somehow I ended up, you know, having the burden of, oh, I don't know. Okay, I don't
It
know.
is a burden. You might want to put it as
Yeah,
something
you see, I'm running away
like
from.
no as burden light, but it's
Yeah.
not a burden because with me, I think the importance of me talking about this is because I've battled with depression. You've been there for years.
Yes.
I've battled with depression, and it's something which people don't realize, which stems from my childhood. It's something that which other because I'm one of those people which if you say which hey this happened to me, I've been through it, I've done that, I've worn the t-shirt, right? Being a firstborn, how I came about. I know people don't like me to say it, but I am writing a book on it. I stopped writing it a couple of years back
Yes.
because it was just too emotional. I was referred to as a product of a one night stand by my father.
Yes.
So being a firstborn, it's something that stayed with me, that scarred me. And I felt Uguti then it brought the inability for him to love me fully as his kids. And with my mother as well, I don't know, from different sources, my conception comes about in different forms, right? But then I've always been the half, the 50%.
Yeah.
My siblings have referred to me as the 50%. I've been referred to as the half sister. I've been referred to as the stepsister. So it's been a lot. So in terms of me as a person, it started off with the responsibilities of being responsible for other children while I was a child myself.
Exactly.
Uguti, it was my responsibility. Uguti, people eat. It was my responsibility that people bathe. It was my responsibility that people woke up exhaling. It was my responsibility that the house was clean. If they did something because I was the firstborn, it was expected of me
To bear the burden.
to bear the burden. So if someone had to be punished, I would be the one that would be punished, because I was the firstborn. So sometimes I wish I could tell people, if you're going to have kids, those children are your children. They're not the firstborn's responsibility. I know Wuti, Mina being the firstborn child, it's uncharted territories, and you being the parent, it's uncharted territories.
Yes.
Everybody is learning.
Yes.
But as soon as people make the decision to bring someone into this world, I in my heart of hearts, I think you have to bear the responsibility of looking after your kids. I know to some it might be which ungrateful, but it's your kids.
Yes.
So you must look after them because through that, me growing up in that context, I'm looking after everybody. It's something I had to carry through my adult life. Whereby I had to deal with rejection from the very people that I looked after. Being called names uh, by the very people that I've looked after.
Amongst the names you've just mentioned,
Mm.
that you had to embody growing up,
Mm.
there was also a name that you used to use,
Mm.
which made me very uncomfortable. I know and understand that it wasn't my position to either like it or dislike it. You used to refer to yourself as the black sheep of the family.
I have.
And I was so against that. I remember some 10 years back, recently, as of maybe 2-3 years back, I haven't heard you refer to yourself as the black goat. What happened? Where did the shift come? What made you realize? Well, I would like to think that you listened to me, but I know that is not possible. But how did we get to you not seeing yourself as the black sheep?
It's something Oguti, when they say the power of the tongue, biblically. It got to a point where Oguti, I am feeling Oguti, I'm Christianing myself with this
Yes.
black sheep of the family,
Yes.
and nothing is going forward because I put myself in a position where I am begging to be loved. You know, I wanted to be the main character in people's scripts.
Yes.
I wasn't. And then when I was discovering what I wasn't, and then I started calling myself black sheep. I think I started calling myself a black sheep even earlier, very earlier on in life.
Yes, yes.
But it had to get to a point which, as a person, I had to grow up at some point. It fully grow up, right? And then I think Uguti, in terms of the people that I introduced in my life, it's either I brought on the people that wanted to use and abuse me and discard me, whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships, or I brought people that would never tell me the truth. You know, you've dealt with me for many years,
Yes.
and I think you know Uguti, I'm very Martin temperamental. I
Yes.
like things. I sulk sometimes when things don't necessarily go my way.
Yeah.
But
And I must say, it's not easy being on the receiving end of your sulking. It's not.
No, but you know what I would say, Uguti, you and I, our friendship has gone through the hurdles, right?
Yes.
We've had our
It
ups
has
and we've had our
matured
downs.
like a
Fine wine, yes,
Yes.
it has, you know. And what I like about us now, ne, we have been conscious about taking a decision which we are going to be honest with each other, we're going to be open.
That we have.
Yes, you know, whether we like it or we don't like
Yeah,
it, you know, we're not going to be apologetic about anything in the friendship. And I think Uguti, it is something that has made me grow up as well. I had to grow up because there are certain things I didn't want to face about me and my personality, the bad habits I had carried with me, not throwing the pity party.
Yes.
You know, when you say to me, stop it, you know, I had to stop it.
Yeah.
I had to learn that moment when you say it, I
Yeah.
don't necessarily like it when you say it.
Yeah.
So I probably hate you for a moment or two.
I know.
Yeah.
You love to hate
Yes.
me, but you hate to love me.
Yes, you know. But then you know, then I had to draw strength as well from,
Yes.
let me give you an example.
You know, I have that effect on a lot of people.
I'm not saying you must go around having a big head. No, don't go around having a big head, you know.
Okay.
But you know, let me give you an example of
Yeah.
I know today you have to stop me a lot because
I hope I don't have to.
you know, but you know, let me give you you know, when there was a point where my siblings again, you know, from my mother's side, they all came
Yes.
to
I'm glad you mentioned that
Mm.
from your mother's side
Mm.
because you are a child of the world.
yes,
You have siblings from your father's side,
Yes.
you have siblings from your mother's
Yes.
side, but no siblings
and I have siblings
from...
that I have not yet met.
Yes,
Yes.
you unfortunately. But you don't have necessarily siblings from both your mom and dad
No,
together.
I'm the older one between the two of them.
Sure.
So in terms of when I had my siblings and they found themselves in a place of need, right? And I had to be the breadwinner again, you know. Yeah.
I know all about
Yeah.
being the breadwinner.
Yeah, you know.
Lucky for you, you were the employed breadwinner. So imagine when you are fending for yourself and now you also have to make sure that other people are okay as well.
Employed or unemployed. Remember, I've experienced both, where I
Yes.
had to look after people as employed,
Mhm.
and then I had to look after people as an unemployed person, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's just that it's one of those things that. So no, I've experienced both,
Yes.
where I was unemployed and the part where I was employed. So I don't think it makes a difference, you know. It's just one of those things with the responsibilities are there, which I feel Uguti, it's unfair that any one person should carry.
I beg to differ. When you are working and you earn a salary and you can make for yourself and make others, it's one thing. But when you are not working, having to survive yourself and survive other people, it's not quite the same. Because now at the end of the day, imagine when now with your salary, you know what you have a guaranteed maybe 40, 50,000 end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you can allocate this and that.
Mm.
I'm not trying to say one pain is greater than the other, but I'm just saying when you know that you have somewhere to take from, it's one thing. But when you have to, I don't want to use the word panda, but when you have to make a plan for yourself to sustain yourself, now having to also make a plan to sustain other people, it's it's
Do you
a
know
totally
how much
different ballgame.
debt I was in?
I know.
Because you know, when you, I think that the notion Uti, why I would beg to differ. I think I was in more debt employed than I was in debt unemployed. I had loans left, right, and center because I had to send money home in the form of black tax. I'm not a fan of black tax. My daughter can testify to this. I do not take black tax from any child. I know it's an unpopular thing that abantu bazothi, no, a child must, because I've suffered enough through black tax.
Define black tax.
Black tax
Because
is
you and I, and I'm glad how we deal with this, but we are never necessarily on the same boat, but within boundaries. I define black tax.
Okay, with me, black tax is when you are working and then it's mandatory which you send money home.
Mandatory.
Yes, right? Every single month, if you are sending 5,000, you have to send 5,000 home. Né? It's all good and well if you can afford it, right? I found myself in a situation where I couldn't afford it because remember, I had my own family to raise. I had, because I'm a single parent, I had responsibilities at home in terms of my late sister's kids. You know, I had to also consider my mom. I had a brother that I was paying school fees for before he got his bursary. But then, you know, I you know, there were times where Utolo Uguti mid-month, my mom would call me and say for my brother, there's no bus fare or taxi fare or whatever. And I found myself already stretched in terms of budget. And then I had to do the most, okay, to me, to some people it might not be degrading, but to me, I felt it was degrading when I had to ask colleagues.
Why
why
do you feel comfortable to come and ask money from me?
Saying it's, you know, I need 500 rand quickly because I need to, you know, because already inyanga it's my child, I have debts. So I was always running on empty as an employed person, you know. So when my mom passed away and I had to now shoulder the responsibilities in its entirety, you know, that became something else again. And then that happened just soon after she passed on, and then I was unemployed soon after, right? And then I started a business that we're going to talk about later. But with that business as well, I found myself go hand to mouth situation whereby I'm working, I'm making the money, but I'm not seeing the proceeds of the money because I have responsibilities. So those are the responsibilities. I think with me, I feel I want to say which I'm strong, because no, it was not by choice and it was not by design. It was bestowed on me.
Yes, it was some sort of an inheritance.
Yes,
that we find ourselves too familiar with. You know, the inheritance of a burden.
Yes,
the inheritance of a struggle. I think most people would like to run away from the word inheritance when it comes with nothing but wealth. It is still an inheritance because I did not ask for your debts. I did not ask for what you were faced with. You know, there are debts like bomachonisa that your parent will find themselves or whoever. And then now, bese umuntu yashona, and then the machonisa is like, no, he's your family member.
Yes.
If nikonilugumfihla, or even sometimes it's even before the funeral, the burial, you know. So I understand there is an inheritance of burden, there is an inheritance of wealth as well. I think we must just,
no, these things must be talking about more. You know, I remember with one of my brothers when we were talking about our childhood, right? In terms of our relationship with our mother.
Yes.
And I felt as the black sheep, she didn't love me enough. And he kept going, oh, but I didn't notice. And I was like, it's very difficult if you're a favorite to notice things. So you would...
Unfortunately, children end up becoming enemies. Because now when you are the apple of their eye, when I'm the needle in their eye.
Yes, because he you know, through those conversations, I you know, it was just one of those things which initially, I think when we had this conversation, I wanted him to see, it was important for him to see things how I saw them, right? And then, but when we had the conversation, as we were talking, and then I came to realize, you know, the conversation, it had to be had for me to heal, right? And then it had to be had, not for me to convince him, oh, this is what I saw in my childhood. you know. But to say with anhlanye, because you get to a point where you feel ukuthi uyahlanya,
Yeah, you're
you know,
over exaggerating.
you're over exaggerating things, you know, because I would say things and then they say I get words like angicabanga, you know. I would say things which, you know, I had to sacrifice my education for me to pay for your fees, like angicabanga, you know.
You know, there's a saying you like, because you're a very wise woman beyond your age. There's a saying you like to say that not all children grow up in the same household.
Yes.
Take me down, take us down, because I mean I've been at the receiving end of that, and I know what you mean. But for our viewers, how would you like to put it into your own words? How would you like?
So basically, is with all children. You might have 3-4 children. Yeah? They're not necessarily raised by the same parent. Because remember, kids are born from different times in your life. So it could be your firstborn was born where there was money. The secondborn was born where there was a struggle. The thirdborn was born when you find your feet again. So it might be the same 2 parents. It might be the same parent, but it's a different parent because of when at that point you're at a different time and state in your life.
So is it only based financially? Is it only
emotionally as well? Emotionally as well. You know how I was with my firstborn daughter, right? I was in an okay space, and then came my secondborn, my son, right? So when he came along at a point where I was going through a divorce. I think when I was going through the divorce one, so there was a lot of anger, emotional that I was going through, right? And then he was too young to know what was happening, but his sister was old enough to see what was happening. So you see, even though they are more or less around the same time, my daughter had to deal with the anger, the tears, the depression, the whatnot, and he was still youngish, right? And then when my thirdborn came along, it was when I was like, I am getting my strength back. I'm going to fight. But then I had a point to prove. So he was born in my time of having a point to prove, right? So now it was working the long hours, the what. I must show people what I can. So with my last born, he never had his mother, because his mother had to work to prove herself to other people, right?
It's almost like you're raising him for the first time now.
Yes, it was.
Or then when you stopped working.
Yes, you know. So then with my firstborn and my lastborn, they have the most attention because of they are the defining points. First time being a mother, first time going through something. Secondborn, me taking charge of. The middle one is always the forgotten one, because remember, he came at a point where he was too young. He was there, but he was too young to understand what I was going through. And somehow, because when I was dealing with the 2 extreme emotions in my life, right, he was never truly included. So then he becomes the forgotten one. So he's the one child with all my kids. He doesn't really have much to say, except he does feel there's something with his parents. It's hard truths we don't want to tell ourselves, because we would like to think we are perfect, right? But I wasn't necessarily perfect with regards to where he was concerned, because I always forgot him. Omdala, very loud and what. Omncane, very loud and what. Even with me, and in terms of my emotions and everything that I went through, they were the core people. In terms of him, it was something else. And then I had my sister's kids that I was also raising, right? With them as well, they fit in the picture because of I had to play the role of umama, but at the same time I had to remember my place ukuthi ngumamkhulu, though financially ngumama as well, you know. So I had to now take a piece of me as well that wasn't really in existence to share amongst 5 kids.
Sure, it's a lot. That's a lot. Yeah, I'm a mom of 3. My firstborn daughter being 28, living with disability. I think disability or not, she was born, or she lived around the time where I can say, you know, she was the only child. So therefore, everything revolved around her. And then it took me, say, 8 years in between this. Yeah, there's 8 years between she and the second born. So my second born being the middle child, she's turning 20 next week. And so for them, just for them, before adding the last born, just for them, I think it applied all too well the fact that not all children are raised by the same parents. Because with Miss T, she was the only baby. She was living with disability. We didn't know how to raise. We didn't go to school. There was no manual that came with how to, because as your first child, you'd expect it, to have it a bit easy. But with her, because I think it also worked in my advantage that she was my firstborn. I didn't know any better. I couldn't compare her to my previous child who was a normal child. So with her, I used to refer to her upbringing as her as you go, because we only did things that we knew.
There was no point of reference.
Yeah, being young as I was, a first time mom, now with like almost feeling like you're raising two children. But like I'm saying, because I didn't know, I didn't have a prior experience with the firstborn that could have came before her, that with the firstborn this was better, that was what. With her it was like, listen, nyenza lokho okusemandleni or okuphambi kobuso bami, what I think I know. And her disability was an eye-opener for me. And I think most people refer to me as the unpopular word imbokodo, because even as young as I was doing a stellar job from where I can say, from where I can remember. Because now I remember getting even older people saying, you must be strong. Because remember, I didn't necessarily have the support of my family. My mom was like, she had decided earlier on who was going to be the, I don't know, I don't want to use the word favorite, but I realized that me not necessarily being popular in the family, my child also fell in the same bracket.
Now tell me, had Miss T, let's say, had she not been disabled?
Yes.
Is that the correct word?
Yeah. She's living with disability.
I don't know
called,
but
cerebral
disabled
palsy.
is a wrong word to use.
No, kukhona amagama abuhlungu ngathi bosikhwele.
Oh, okay.
Amagama engathi isidalwa.
Yes.
I think those words, because they are vernac, and we tend to use them ngendlela careless.
Oh, okay.
I can't say disability because it's an English word. It's much nicer.
Oh.
Now your disability on its own, you can say that the person is living with disability. Because I remember I used to correct some people when they say you're disabled daughter. I'm like, no, not really disabled. Something disabled. I mean, even a chair, it can be used to sit on. Even a table, even what. So I think I've never yet come across anything disabled, because there is an ability within anything and everyone.
With the disability.
So she's living with disability. She's living with disability of not properly verbalizing herself or mobilized. She's not her mobility. She doesn't walk. She's wheelchair bound, but funny enough, she understands almost seven languages, seven official languages of South Africa.
She understands.
So she does. She can also create her own words, not words but sign. She doesn't use the typical sign language, the official sign language. She has her own sign language that we all understand. And what matters is that you listen to her, you look at her, and then you will be able to understand. So she probably could have been able to enlighten me as far as being the firstborn child, how she liked. But her way of talking or expressing herself is a little bit limited to go the extra mile and say, Mama, you know, when you were staying there and when you said this or that. She can't really say that, but I can only try to, you know, be in her shoes, I try to embody her so I can understand how she feels a lot of the times.
Oh, nice. So what I wanted to find out from you, had Umi's T not been a person living with a disability,
Yeah.
do you think you would have been the type of mother where
No.
you would have relied on her to assist you with your other kids? Would you have, because now she's 28 years old,
No.
do you think you would have then expected her to help you raise your two younger kids?
I
There's
think
an 8-year gap there.
I think expect to raise is a much harsher or deeper word. Not expect her to help me raise, but to be there. You know, we have parents. Lucky for me, I it's been only a couple of years where I was like your typical 9 to 5, but most of my life I've been self-employed. I've been, you know, so with other parents, I know you asked me about me personally, but I also don't want it to come across as if those siblings who are at home because mommy is at work making money to, you know, support them or maintain them. Now that mommy is at work, the burden falls with me to raise my children. It depends really. With I don't want to sound too defensive, but I think I would somehow expect Miss T to look after. And remember, maybe I would have had Umpome shortly after her because she was disabled. I had to make sure that I give her time, I give her enough nourishment, enough attention and stuff like that. But saying the age gap would have still been the same. I think yes, at age 80, I would have expected her to know to help me here and there and moving forward. Like, you know, the things that it was within her adaptability or reach to do. Not that she must cook or anything. No. But I still think I would have.
I mean, I still think people must look after their own kids. You know, I was speaking to one child, I can't say his name, but he knows who he is. So he's another firstborn, right? Yes. So he was telling me in terms of you, because I was very close with his mom when we were growing up, very close. Yeah. So we were talking in terms of him as a person, how he feels. And he was telling me that he's tired. He's 30 years old, he's tired, you know, of bearing the responsibility of making sure which his younger siblings are okay, of making sure people have clothes, people are fed. He's just tired, you know. And now him looking back at his life, he's got nothing to show for it. And with my conversation to him, it's about 2 or 3 days back. And with my conversation to him, I was saying, you know, the saddest thing is you put everything on hold and you've got nothing to show, and you build people, right? You help people build themselves, and you build people along the way. You neglect you. And then at the end of the day, then you expect people to be there, but they won't be there. So I was telling him, you know, at some point you should learn from my life. You know, you need to start being selfish while you can. You know, I had a car. I went and I bought myself a car, right? And then
sorry, before we get to the car issue, what would be your, this is where I draw the mark, this is where I draw the line, this is where, you know, as far as the other sibling playing a part or helping with the older sibling helping with the younger sibling, where do you draw the line? What is too much, or for you it's just not at all?
I'm not saying it's not at all. It comes in the form of which you can't give of yourself something you don't have. Usually, I'm a firstborn, they find themselves taking out loans because of they need to build a car to extend the house, right? They find themselves in debt because they need to help in taking people through education, what, right? And then when these people, your siblings, are okay, then they forget. They didn't ask you, you didn't have to. Who said you must do this? And you look, I mean, there's a woman that I once ran into. All her siblings are well educated, right? Except her, she's the firstborn.
Ash,
Now they're looking down on her. But the sacrifices that she had to
for
do
them to get
to
them.
get to the education we are taught.
Mm.
So I think that's with me, that's where I draw the line. Don't stop you, you know. I've been saying, which I'm sure you've heard me as well. I don't know who I am. I've been working from the age of 18 to look after people. I got married, same responsibilities, whatever. Same. I think it's not even a year since I got my independence. I couldn't really,
Yeah.
right? I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like. Because if I'm thinking of buying something and then I have to think of I can't buy this without buying for that, and I must do this for that.
Yeah.
If I'm thinking of no, I have to do this because this one, and then I must think of I must not offend this one. You know, when the house of cards that I had dealt in terms of me helping to raise my siblings and sacrificing and giving my 110% and forgetting myself, when that house of cards finally fell, I broke down. I went into a depression, which I think I was out for 2 weeks.
Mm.
I was sleeping, I was crying, and you know the hurtful things that were said to me after that, you know. And then I asked myself, was it worth it? Those were not my kids to start off with. I had no business helping look after someone else's children, because Nakona, I will always be the half sister or the step sister or whatever. So yes, I might come across as very angry. I am angry. I'm not going to. I'm bitter. I am bitter. Yes.
So is it because of your personal experience that you feel like we as parents, we don't have a right to ask some assistance from our older children to help with the younger children?
Yes. Look at.
So if I say my 8-year-old must go to crèche and fetch the sister who's like down the street, you still believe
you are bestowing a responsibility of
I'm
your
at
child.
work,
Get someone to do it.
so I should now, from the little that I'm making, pay someone else to do something that can be done, you know, within the same
Okay, let's say hypothetically speaking, let's speak semi-realistic about the situation. Here you are, you're a single parent, you are raising 3 kids, it's not your fault, you find yourself as a single parent, none of us it's never our fault. You find yourself as a single parent, and then corner also schooling that needs to go pick up, it's fine. But don't put the responsibility now this child needs to cook. Don't put the responsibility to weekends.
As I said, where do you draw the line? The cooking is a total no-no. So I'm saying helping around, as in make your bed. I don't have to hire somebody to.
I think as a child, I might say at some point it's okay. What I refuse, when now Saraketile is gone, and now they still have the responsibility of being the one that everybody, you know, over mind. I have no one to run to as the so-called imbokodo. When people are in trouble, the phone is always available. People can call me what I'm going through. I said the other day, and I was trying to think, when have I ever gone to anyone to ask for help and I've been helped? I don't remember.
That's the problem with the stronger ones. They help, but when it's their turn to be helped, nobody's around.
No one takes care of the strong ones.
You are so strong that you take care of us, that you could never be in a situation where you need to be helped or assisted.
Yes, you know, no one takes care of the strong ones. You will always find yourself in a position where you are alone. That's you know, and that is the saddest thing. And that's when I think where people will start saying things which get over it. I can't get over something half of my life or 90% of my life you have taken over because I had to look after you. When you're in a place which now you can assist or you can help me for a change, or you can be that person I can run to, and then when I be to know, no, I don't owe you anything. I didn't ask you to do all these things for me. So yes, I'll be angry. Yes, I'll be bitter. And because I'm going through all these emotions, it's a whole lot of things that happened in my childhood. But then then I battle with depression. Now I've given so much of myself. You know, I was telling one of my siblings when I had to decide which I'm an only child, it's a decision I had to make. I have literally disowned everyone out of my life, and it's a new slate. It's a clean slate for me because I had to say, Uguti, you've taken so much of me, there's nothing else to take. Like, I'm empty.
Yeah, how's that working out for you?
I'm at peace. So,
Yeah.
I don't even want to cry,
Yeah.
but I am at peace.
Yeah.
Finally.
Tough decision I had to make myself.
Yes.
When I at least gonna Chiefs and Pirates, and then you are the referee. So with me, it's unfortunate because they are all from. We're all from the same set of parents.
Yes.
No,
No, but it's just
sorry.
you know, it's peace came at a price.
Yeah.
You know, I lost so much of me.
For me as well, I think I can say it's safe to say it's the best decision I have ever made for myself, for my own mental health. I used to suffer from anxieties. Simply because I had to take on so much at such a young age. I had to be the defender of my older siblings. I'm the last born. I have a sister and a brother. So from both my mom and dad. And well, the jury is still out though on my paternity. Because I was also raised being told that I'm not my dad's child. However, lucky enough, I had the opportunity to ask them both, and they both disputed that. So I grew up being my dad's favorite. So I think maybe it was also the jealousy type of vibe that, you know, I would be reminded that when I saw they say you're not dad's child. So those things make me strong.
You had a father's love. There
You're
is
my
something
dad.
about when a father
You're my
speaks.
dad.
People, yes, it's something good people take for granted. You know, with me, my father could never fully love me.
Yeah.
He struggled with it.
Madam, can we have a tissue, please?
I can't get up.
He could never fully love me, that man. It was just one of those things which I tried. Ne?
Yeah.
And I couldn't, no matter what I did. Ne? And people would go, most of people, I mean, he was a taxi owner. I mean, when whatever. Cheese girl vibes, you know.
Yeah.
When a car would come, he loved a Mercedes Benz, right? Yeah, he had the latest every single time. Yeah, I mean, we went to Masenzi shopping. He never looked at the price tag. I didn't even know what I wore branded clothes until I was older, and I discovered, expensive. So you know, financially, yes, he provided. It's something I can never take away
that's
from
the
him.
thing. Most parents believe that. I know I cut you. My apology on the car issue. Can we go back to the car issue straight after this? Most parents believe that when you are providing financially, or in fact, they make the money the child's parent. Like,
Yes.
you are doing everything except which is time, affection, love, you know, presence. A present dad, a present mom. Where now you are just throwing branded into labels, you know, you are just throwing money. Carry 100 rand to show ukuthi uyamthanda. You are giving them everything except what they really need.
That's the thing with my dad. I think it's something which he was very vocal about, because remember, he had me in his youth.
Yeah.
And then with my mother,
as his firstborn as well.
His firstborn as well. So I was both their firstborn. So I had the responsibilities, but full responsibilities where he was concerned, because there was always a helper or something in the house. So I was never 110 responsible for. But like any other child, normal responsibilities where he's concerned, right?
Yes.
But where I needed him as a father to love me, to be present, he struggled. And I think it made things worse when he decided to tell me anyway to the product of the one night stand, and I understood. And then when he had nothing positive to say about me, and every single time he had to speak about me, he had to say negative things about me, he was killing a piece of me, you know. And then with my mother, where she was concerned, it was Uguti, she didn't have as much as he had, but I was willing to walk away from him to be with her. And
was it because your mother was more affectionate towards you, or she was a better parent?
No, she was not a better.
Sure.
I remember there was a time where, oh my mommy, she was asked how many kids she had. And she counted her boys and she didn't count me. And when I asked how, I got a phone call, we back phone and Betty, you've got 3 kids and your late daughter, but you didn't say anything about me. She said she forgot. So
okay, that's just nasty.
you know.
That's
So
just
it was like, oh,
hateful,
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
I don't even know.
No, she forgot.
Wow.
You know,
wow.
she
Okay.
forgot. So that's how it was just one of those things. With I in my head of head, I think Uguti, she loved him so much. Uguti, she just didn't like me, and he found himself having a child with a woman he didn't like.
That was going to be my second question, Uguti. Do you think they didn't love you? They both didn't love you because they didn't love each other. They felt like you were a product of their mistake.
Yes, so I was a walking mistake. That's how I felt. And then with regards to my mother, I think in terms of where her children were involved, I tried by all means. You know, Uguti, I want to fit in, but I could never fit in.
Yeah.
You know, it just I was always the outsider looking in. You know, I would describe myself as umntana next door. I was
also called umntana wase next door, umntana waka osebenzeni.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it was because they were also young themselves. I think they were trying to understand, why is this one the favorite? Is he loving her out of guilt because of somtanake, or what? I cannot speak on their behalf, but I just know that my childhood molded me into the person that I am. Even now, I am your typical defender of the underdog. I don't care. The minute I see Uguti umuntu, so whether it's an adult or a child, I'm all for the people who are unloved, unliked, because I know how it feels like.
No, it is
the fight for your place
place
in your own family, your own parents, your siblings.
Yes.
And
extended family.
When you do for them, it's almost like, yeah, she's more privileged.
Yes.
Privileged they are responsible for my my fortunes. No, I've always been that child, because I think I realized early on that I was on my own. Although my dad was present, but he was also absent, because he was, I would like, if ingaphela singamboni afike ebusuku ahambe ekuseni kakhulu and stuff like that, but we knew ukuthi dad was here because we could see his uniform there, you know. So and now when my sister was at boarding school, I was with my brother. I thought my brother and I had a tight relationship, only that I saw what I wanted to see, but maybe at that time it was tight. But with my sister early on, we never really had that relationship. It has always been like I was fighting to be loved by her. In fact, I feel like she loathed me.
Yeah, I think you are loved with regards to what you can give. That is where.
Remember, at that time I was still young, so I couldn't give them anything.
And then when you could.
Yes. No, I'm talking about a 10, 11, 12-year-old.
No, I'm just saying when you were older, when you could.
Yes.
The dynamic.
Hence, I'm saying I feel like I'm a last born with the burdens of a firstborn, because whether it's, you know, the death of a parent, everybody's looking at me. Whether we need to go that way or the other, everybody's looking at me. Whether there's a birth in the family, you know. So I can't say because minimally. I think it's just because my God made a covenant with me early on that as much as angatholanga uthando, she will never lack for money, or she will never lack, you know, to put bread on the table. So I think I've just been very fortunate. I'm not rich, and which, okay, they say power of the tongue.
Power of the tongue,
rich,
my sister.
so yeah, I've never necessarily had to beg and borrow. I can borrow, like I borrow from you. Can you borrow me watch? Okay. After the show. So I've never necessarily been so down and out. But even if the situation was dire, God will always afike kuseni.
Uhlezi afika yena
Yeah.
uNkulunkulu ekuseni. You know, it's just that abonjwa ngisho ukuthi the saddest thing is when you know people love you because of what you
because
can
of
give.
what you can give.
You know,
Yeah.
when you can't
I've
give.
been used and misused. Right now, when I say the best decision I've ever made, I know this might come across as, you know, arrogant or this and that. It's okay. Take it however way you may. But right now, if you were to ask me with members of my family, I would tell you I only have 5.
Your kids.
Yeah, my
and your
husband and my 3 kids.
No, but then izoba ganjalo because
Yeah.
you know I there's no other way of putting it.
Yeah.
You know, I want it to mean it's just that, you know, mabatata and mabatata won't, and then they will dismiss it.
And they still want to take.
Yes, and they still want to
Even
take. Yes.
Rock bottom.
Yes.
The rock bottom must have its own rock
Yes.
bottom.
Yes.
They will take and
Yes.
take and take.
No,
Yeah.
until
until I had to pay with my health. Like I had anxieties. I remember this other time. There was a health what in the family.
Yes.
I think that's when I developed the anxiety because I was like, this can be it. Surely this can be it. I had to be there for the family member and the extended and the extension of the extension. You know, I had to be there. I'm not just talking financially. Remember, mina ngihlala ngisho ngithi umuntu ongiyuzayo ngemali, I use your way. I use a way, but do not mess with my mental health and my physical health because those are the things that are not guaranteed that I will have back. But with finance, my God is a very jealous God when it comes to protecting me and looking out for me.
Mental health is very important. You know, I was watching the other day a documentary Tina, but they were saying it from a point of view. Yeah, one of the sons, the Ike's kids. So when she walked away from him, she walked away from everything.
Yeah.
And I remember Nami Nitemangi Bega because there were still some family members that I was still holding on to, and I said to myself, I'm making a decision to walk away from everyone completely now because of it's useless for me to be walking away and still holding on to some because the triggers are there, right? Triggers, things that will always take me back.
Yeah.
You know, and this thing when I say how I feel in Bisabantu Bisababa dismissive.
Yes.
I can never fully.
Or sometimes they're not even dismissive. Sometimes they're like ingoba uthanda attention.
Yes.
Ingoba you want things to revolve around you.
Yes.
But they don't understand what there's your truth, my truth, and then the gospel truth.
Yes. You know?
So I can tell you, I mean, my pastor made this analogy some time back and say, you know, a 6 and 9 all depends on which position you are looking at.
Yes. Yes.
Because if from me it's a 6, definitely from you it's a 9.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's just one of those things. Uguti, I was telling you about the car thing.
Yes. The car thing, please.
I must get it off my chest.
Get it off your chest, girl.
So anyway, amongst the brothers, they always had the thing you would babodigana in moto and they're buying cars, they're forever changing cars and stuff like that. And then eventually, I got my own, right? And then one of the brothers wrote it off. So the arrangement was he was going to replace it. It's still a sore point. He might look at this. I was so quite dealing because of course, you know, it was, and now kind of this happens. So I'm in no position which I'll get another one anytime soon, you know. So I speak to the other one and I tell him, oh, you know, it's sad, but he keeps changing cars, but he's not replacing my car.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other one says to me, no, but you must get over it. Now family forgives and forgets.
Excuse me, know? Family my food.
And then you two, but you know, you guys have been doing things for each other. I've never been in the picture, right? I have given and I've been giving and things from my side have been taken and they've been destroyed and they've been, you know. But Mina, you've never guys awarded me the opportunity of coming to you as a sister. Uguchi, I'm running short there, or can you do this for me? I was just never awarded. I had to see myself to finish. When umuntu noma angatwenza something mentally, I am minusing. Uguchi, 2 days back, I gave Ulu 10 rand, and when I come to you and I say, Ulu, can I please have the 10 rand? And you say to me, I don't have it. You say 50 cents, and you give me the 50 cents, and you think what you've done. No, You haven't done anything. You are just indirectly paying bit by bit of what is required for you to do. You see, so I want to show you, I'm at a point in my life where I just feel Uguti. This is a long topic. I suppose we're going to have to continue it next time again. But it's just to cut it off with regards to about the fitness. I still honestly feel when people have kids, they are your kids. Do not bestow the responsibility on your other children or on your firstborn, as a matter of fact. Whether it's is it only a girl thing or does it happen to guys?
It does happen to guys. Whatever you say, it's always happening to a guy.
Has it? And then
I think you must come closer.
Yes, please come closer. And then with you from a male perspective, I suppose because on social media, it's always about the firstborn daughter, the firstborn daughter. With you, and then from your side,
from my side, all the things that you've said, they
apply on you as well.
Whatever, if you remind all the things that have been happening, give me, and young Kelento maybe and uvuse some of the things is in Kataza.
Sorry to cut you off there, Baba. Oh, that's Mr. Malashika. Mr. Malashika, my husband. So he liked to. I remember, I don't know if it was last month or just a few weeks ago when I said, I think you must release her. I think you must let her go. I think you must let go of all the pains, because as much as I'm not necessarily paying for them, or by her I mean his stepmom. Can I refer to her as your stepmom? Yeah. So his stepmom, she did quite a number on him. Because I remember when I got into his life, she was the mother figure. And then, but he was not happy that he didn't know, how it came about. He didn't fully know how it came about that Azohlala no stepmother no babaki. And then I took it upon myself to go and look for his biological mom. And I'm glad we did find her before she passed on.
Did she have expectations when you found her, or was it just one of those things where you expected to provide as the firstborn?
Yeah, because yakumbula nge-funeral you said nge-funeral ye-stepdad, you have to put something.
But she never raised
him.
But why the expectations? Why people are not
that unset rule as a firstborn child. Ukumbule, even when the stepdad passed on, but the expectations was there. It didn't come from a bad place. It came from a place yokuthi sekatholeni nomntana kumfana kuzobonakala impilo izochinja, things like that. And it just so happened ukuthi nathi we were just not scraping by, but we were just
yes,
if you know what I get, if you get what I mean. However, I think the expectation came with him being found. Remember, we are the ones who went out and looked for her, and then we found her, and then
the expectation that by default it kicks in.
And remember, he's also not the firstborn. He's the firstborn from his dad and his mom, but he also had a sibling who is the firstborn from the mom. But with him, from his dad, he's the firstborn, and we also recently, not recent, but a couple of years, we found out that there was also another daughter from his dad. So, but just like you, from his dad and his mom, he's the only child.
And that's the worst place for me. I think you find yourself, which you're the only sibling, and then they don't fully accept you because half. But then you have expectations in which you must help in whatever they are going through. But when you are going through whatever you're going through, there's nobody. That's the saddest.
Like
I'm not the time forgotten now. But maybe we did find shrines. We don't know. We learned about fun shrines last week.
They expected masimthola. Like makafika endlini yamasecurity atleni was like, oh, unendlu.
Yes.
Oh,
yes. So sakayicabanga ukuthi uzo by default uzochitha up to angimaje sithi abazali abachuthi, but no, but the thing is you can't be taking your children can't be taking.
You can't reap where you didn't sow.
No, exactly. You know, and
But
I want
even-
to the worst thing with more low half
Yeah.
or low 50% that they would refer to ukuthi right mabafuna izinto and then awukho so right mawungakwazi ukubanikeza.
Next.
Yes.
Right.
So kumele uhlale
Ibeke straight.
kuwo wonke ama funerals which we have before we went our separate ways, whenever there was a funeral in the family, we as husband and wife, we would be expected to contribute, and then we were under the impression that everybody was contributing, only to find out that we were the only idiots who were contributing, because everybody would come up with a reason. And we realized, I think at funeral number 4, that Haibo, and also with Papa, my late father-in-law, who adored me. So I think, Mina, I'm privileged. I think that's why I made such a gorgeous, handsome decision of marrying my husband, because I know the father's love. Yes, the first man who had to love me did a stellar job. That is why I was able to identify a good man in him. And then my father-in-law also, he loved me dearly. And I think the love originated from the fact that he saw how happy his son was. He realized that I was doing what he couldn't do, or he would have wanted to do. You know, when you are living with a step, you are in a much privileged position when it's the stepdad and your mom is your biological. But if you are living with the stepmom, it's another problem altogether. So I think he would have wanted to love him better, but he couldn't under certain restraints. So I came along, and then I loved his son for him. So he loved me for that, and for my charming personality as well.
Yeah, that's a beautiful story.
So,
but then between the two of you, in terms of him as a dad, did he have these expectations as a firstborn, or is it something that came from your mother's side?
He did, because angeke ukuthi kumfana kho funeral. Like there's many things, ziningi izinto ebefuna ukuthi zenzeke, because he will tell you ukuthi umholo wakho I have to get it wonke.
Yeah.
Nguthathe wonke njengomntana wami umqala mele ulethe kimi.
Was
Because
it
there was a
only
time.
referring to the first pay, or
The whole pays.
okay?
Wonke imiholo yami
Yeah.
mele ke idlule
Or bese yena I decide
decide ukuthi nginikeza malini. Until
Yeah, but I think bekunenyola mfele because I love I think
until
it
we
wasn't
decide ukuthi
necessarily
no baba
his
no
decision.
yimi ngiyedwa ngikhipha abantwana bakithi waye bangakhiphi sibeke imali phezu
Yeah.
kwetafula.
Being your stepbrothers.
Yeah, because
understand.
because you know when people sit as the firstborn, when you can't accomplish it because you're busy usiza wonke umuntu, you ugcina songathi manje you're the useless one, because of now wonke umuntu uyasebe, because bona they can save, and
Well,
when you can't
luckily the
save
useless one is the one who ended up with a family and a home.
Because of
What
my
can you
wife.
say?
Because of what?
I bet behind
It takes
every
two to
man.
tango.
Yes.
He was working for the money, I was spending the money correctly.
No, but it's just one of those decisions, which, you know, Mrs. Malashlegari was saying, I think we were having this conversation with Zolo a couple of days back,
Yeah.
where she was saying, that's when I know Putuako, you must get over stuff, right?
Yeah.
We shall continue for next week.
Yeah.
So basically, when you were saying Uguti, we
I
must get
really
over
liked
stuff.
Madam Producer, can we please finish this one, because it's my favorite. I think this is where the topic for today came from,
Yes.
because I felt like he was still holding resentment for
Yes.
the stepmother,
And you felt I was still holding on.
from your siblings and your mom.
Mm.
So as much as nami ngikule ngama hurdles one, I believe ukuthi for me to be able to move forward was just, I don't know, maybe my brain is wired a certain way. Angeke ngithi ngixolela lula or it's my favorite thing to do. But I feel like, you know, holding resentment or harboring resentment is almost like making a
when you say
poison and
resentment,
drinking
I'm
it
saying
yourself.
not forgetting. I choose to say not forgetting.
Not for, but
Yes.
can you forget for your own sake, Baba? Do you think you can?
Okay, I sense
let
a
it go?
so. Let's continue with this topic about forgiving and forgetting next week,
Okay,
Sunday,
so
because
tomorrow will be about forgive and
on
forget.
Sunday, yes.
Okay.
I'll never forgive you. I'm going there. So then, yeah, so we'll hold it off because I see it's a long
It is.
a topic.
It is.
So let's just have it again on Sundays because obviously we're reserving our Sundays for this kind of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm worrying about the fit.
Yes, you're worrying about the fit,
Yes,
madam.
I'm worrying about the fit.
You are.
This is our business.
Yes.
It's me and my 3 ladies.
Yes.
Unompumelelo Mayahlekane,
Oh, okay.
No.
Uzinhle Shabangu.
I am not Nompumelelo.
Oh, I must
Yeah.
remove the
Not
N-O.
Nompumelelo.
Umpumelelo. I don't know why you guys gave her a boy's name.
No, even
Umpumelelo.
Tapelo. Remember Tapelo is a girl and she's not Matapelo, Kitapelo. So I'm not in for the norms and the mass.
And she was supposed to have the no, but anyway, Umpumelelo Malahlekane, Uzinhle Shabangu, Florence Mufukeng.
Yeah.
These are my partners who are about the fit.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously me, the founder.
Mhm.
So what happened is I was introduced to the business of making beaded bags
Yes.
by Mrs. Butelezi.
Oh.
So she introduced me to a friend, Umam Pinky Bangani, who taught me how to do the beads.
Yeah.
So then I took the business seriously, and then before I knew it, sengenzama markets,
Yes.
sengenzama order abantu,
Yeah.
sengenzani, you know. So then I stopped a bit because of in terms of my mental health was not in the best peak. So luckily then obviously the girls then wanted me to continue with the business. So thus about the fit was resurrected.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So now we are 4 in the business. In terms of us making the beaded bags and whatnot, abanye about marketing, abanye banzi and stuff like that. The reason why I decided to take the girls in was because number 1, Bangan.
Yes.
Not as Bangani, they are childish, won't give up at the age of 18.
Yeah.
But because of, you know, with so little opportunities in terms of our youth, it had to, I had nothing to do, no choice but with Mbafag. And the fact that they are driven as well, and the talents that they have in terms of everything involved in the business. I felt it was important in terms of this business to grow because they have a bigger version. Because for me, it was, yes, it's a business, yes, it's registered, yes, I'm making money. But with them, they could see us hiring people. They could see us creating bags in bulk.
Yes.
You know, they could see all these things happening in terms of the business, you know, the growth in it, you know. So it was just one of those things, Gucci, as they are. Yes, I'm in the business because I'm the founder, but the business is 99.9% run by them. It is them that are deciding, Gucci, this is the direction that the business is taking. I am learning so much about them, right? So over Manje, we don't really have any new stock in terms of bags. We like sold out. But since you're our biggest customer, yes, you can show off.
Yes, and I love the fact that your bags have names.
Yes.
And refresh my memory. What is her name?
This one, remember this collection is the Lou collection. Remember?
Okay.
You had to name it. You're pushing
Because they are
for us.
dramatic.
Yes.
They're like me.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you had to name these bags. And remember, we were making bags with inners, not beads only. So
Yes.
you're the one that initially asked for us to make bags that are
Yes.
beads only.
Yes.
So that's because you're pushing and pushing and pushing.
Mhm.
And then we had to make those bags that were beads only. So yeah. So it's just one of those things which, yeah, as a company, I don't know, what can you say, Bumi, about our baby?
It's a revamped, or can I say, what is it? The new and improved About
Yes.
the Fit ATF. We
Mm.
could
Hamba
say they.
ATF.
Mm.
You know, when I walk into church holding one of those babies,
Mhm.
you know, if imali beyisenzela, I
Yes.
think I would come back with a sales
Yes,
every day,
yes.
because people always stop me and say, your bag, girl, your bag.
Mhm.
And I'll be like, it's ATF, About the Fit.
Mhm.
Oh, yes. And
Yes.
I know the
The owners.
the owners, and I know, yeah, I love ATS bags.
Mhm.
And I also love the fact that umuntu angafika kuwe akuphi isithombe, or you know, either isithombe, the physical, or isithombe in their mind, which I want something like this. Because I remember that's the same thing that happened with this bag.
Yes.
I said, make a bag that symbolizes and resembles
Yes.
me. And then I remember, you know, after my husband and kids, I fell in love with this bag like it was my baby.
Yeah, but you must
Yeah.
remember you're the only one that has it also. Because
That's
that's
the
another
thing.
thing that we push
That's
for
the thing.
in terms of Masenza Ikwama
Yes.
About the fit.
Yeah, custom made.
Custom made. So
Mhm.
no bag is the
Mhm.
same as the other bag.
Yes.
You know? So I think we have
There's a
how
label
many
here.
limited in a range?
30.
Yeah, about 30 in a range, and then we don't do it again. So we do it,
Yeah.
and then we make 30, and then we don't do it again. And then it's very rare to somebody with the
A replica, yeah.
exact replica.
Mm.
All the other people that are carrying About the Fit bags out there, no one has the same bag as any other person. So it's,
Yeah.
it's exclusivity
Yes.
that we sell. About
But
the Fit.
what if somebody says, I love the Lou collection. Can you make me something dramatic? She reminds me of me when I was her age, or the
We
person
can
I
make it, but
aspired
it
to
can,
be.
it
So
can never be completely the same.
the
You're gonna
same.
have this bag, right? You see, it's got a chest, but it's got so you might find with, yes, we might make something that's similar, but it won't necessarily be the same. It could be
Yes.
the belt is thicker, it could be shorter,
Yeah.
it could be a different color,
it could be long.
so
It could be a
Yeah,
flower.
it could
Yeah.
be, you know, because some of the designs as well, what we've discovered as well, some designs come by accident. To talk with maybe
I
while we're
remember
making,
you
yes.
said that.
So while we're making the bag, and then something happens, and then
Yeah.
voila, we've got a whole new design. So we also sometimes can't even duplicate it
Yes.
ourselves, you know. So Mpumi Wamanje, because she's one of the designers, she's busy with our upcoming collection that we're going to, because I said we're only going to start making bags again around June, right?
Okay.
So around August, just in time for Women's Month, then we'll have our new collection. It won't, whatever bag you buy, you won't find it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Except you having it.
Yeah.
And then you can show it to someone, and someone can make it
Yeah, I was about to say
yeah,
that.
but it won't necessarily be the same as,
Because they have a signature.
they have a
Your bags,
signature, and there's
they have
always there's a
signature.
story to tell with all of
Yes.
it. There's a story to
Yes.
tell with all of them. You know,
That's what
initially, out of, well, she know Kuti, she's a past friend, but a very important woman in my life, right?
Yes.
So we were always sitting together, up and down street stuff and whatnot, because we were sort of community leaders in Tonton.
Okay, I was worried there when you said street
No,
stuff.
no. The community leaders in Tonton. So then every time she would visit, she would come, and then she would watch me make the beaded bags, right? Then she learned how to make the beaded bags as well. Then all of a sudden she was designing some of the bags. But as Mina Nobongi, we discovered when we were working together, behind every bag there's a story. So it's either the story about you, the person that we're making the bag for, or there was a story on how that pattern, that design came about, or there was a story. There's a story behind every single bag that we've made. That's the beauty about the ATF, Uguchi. You know, even with the Amani range, there's a story why we decided to have an Amani range, because you know everything's centered around my
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Yes. I can't watch about racism.
Oh yeah, behind Matsibulo. So there's a story behind Every single thing. So there's no bag that we just make go about the fit, you know. Even the guys that have met me, mama kids, when I'm making bags, they know when they buy, there's a store, there's just always a store. So for every single purchase that you make from us, go ATF. Oh, and then we deliver locally and internationally in terms of our brand.
Okay.
Soon we're going to be, when are we putting the bags on Amazon? Is it in August as well?
August, yes.
Yes. So our bags are also going to be found on Amazon. Yes. So it's a platform that was already approved. It's just that I know marketing / partner / everything.
Yeah.
They've been telling me it is time to upload, and I've been like,
Yes.
yeah. You know, as
You're waiting for
creatives,
inspiration.
creatives, we're very temperamental, but thank you for the patience, ladies. So we will be selling laptop.
So is it safe to say you are a woman who wears many hats? You are an author, you are a designer, you are a mom,
Yes.
you are a former boss
Yes,
lady.
yes,
You are,
yes.
listen, but let me just focus on the things you do. Okay, your children, you make
Yes,
them. But
yes,
the book,
yes,
Dear Gov.
yes.
Why is Dear Gov almost feeling like the ex-child? Why are we not making noise about Dear Gov anymore?
I was going to make noise about it.
Let's make noise
No,
about
let me
Dear
tell
Gov.
you why I'm quiet.
Yes.
A certain host of a certain podcast
Yeah.
told us we are making her show about Dear Gov. So we have to tone down
Okay.
because the boss of the Surely podcast, where we talk about Dear Gov,
Yeah.
told us to tone down.
Remember, Dear Gov is also my baby.
Yeah.
After you.
Yes.
Dear Gov is my baby because, like, okay, let's not reveal too much, but Dear Gov, I have the best interest at heart for Dear Gov, and I know Dear Gov has the same for
Yes.
me. So because Nico Surely, Nico Dear Gov, you know, making an impact decisions.
But you're the co-parents.
Yeah.
So why,
See,
why
I
do
don't
you
want.
feel?
I don't want to kakamel. Am I the dad and you are the mom?
Yeah, well, yeah.
No, I
well.
can't be the dad. Can I be the dad? No, I can't be the. Let's say I'm not even the stepmom. I'm the mom. It's fine.
Okay,
So
yes.
Dear Gov, it's still available. Dear Gov, let's buy Dear Gov. I'm sure you have seen our young people reading letters from Dear Gov. One of them being Miss Malahlekani, and it's getting so much positive feedback.
Yes, we have been getting positive feedback.
And it's not just her, it's a lot of her friends and not so friends, and yeah, everybody is reading Dear Gov. What are you waiting for? Get yourself a copy, and Madam Nyakani will sign.
Yes,
Yes,
I will.
she will.
With my, but I have a pen. Did you give me a pen?
I did.
Okay, we can cut. Thank you so much for watching today's show. I need a pen.
You need a pen.
Yes, I need a pen. Thank you.
This is Louisa Levita Malahlekani signing out.
And this is me, the co-host for today, Nomfundo Nyakani. We out.
Your peace is sacred, your heart